Welcome to another video about selling well online, and today I'm going to be talking about an issue that I recently became painfully aware of on eBay, and I really want other people to know about this issue because it does affect a lot of different people around the world. So first I'm going to talk about what the actual issue is, and then secondly how you can fix it, and then without trying to get too much on a rant, sort of showing what eBay's response to this issue has been, and some of the just some of the problems that I've personally had. So um, firstly, the issue is that Canada Post are not scanning international mail. They're not scanning international mail. I don't know how they can legally get away with this, but they're not. So what that means is if you don't live in Canada and you send something from any other country around the world and you pay extra to get tracking, if it's to Canada, it will not be tracked. Now you can go online, you can find other forums. I'll put links to some of the forums that I found people talking about this. But let's just go to the direct source here. This is the Canada Post website. Again, I will put a link to this page in the description. And it clearly says here that for international parcels, tracking information is available only for events within Canada. Tracking is not available for small packet USA and small packet international items. So firstly, let's talk about that. A small packet is a package that is considered small mail. To be considered small mail, the three dimensions of the package, i.e. the length, the width, and the height of the package must add to less than or equal to 90 centimeters. So if you have a box that's 30 centimeters long, 15 centimeters wide, and 10 centimeters high, then you would just add 30, 15, and 10. That's 55 centimeters. It would be classified as a small package. The other criterion, it must satisfy both criteria, is it must be 2 kilograms or less. Now, most packages are going to satisfy those two criteria. Unless you're sending something that's really heavy or really big, it's going to classify as a small packet. So that means that even if you buy tracking on that item, it won't be tracked. Now, the other option is you could send something via EMS, which is very, very expensive. It's probably like 3 to 4 times more expensive than small packet. Or the other option is you send something by sea, which is sent by a ship, and that takes a very, very long time, up to 3 months or even more in some cases. Now, I haven't sent anything via EMS or ship to Canada, so I can't personally say even if those packages they track. But in any case, I would say the vast majority, 99% probably of packages to Canada or international are going to be small packets. So this affects a lot of packages, affects a lot of people. Let me say it again. Canada Post will not track your item. Doesn't matter if you pay for tracking or not in your local country, they will not track your item. So how can you protect yourself from this? Let's say you sell online, you send something to Canada, you buy tracking on it, you do everything right. The customer turns around and says, I didn't receive the item. There's basically nothing you can do. Well, there is something you can do, which I'll talk about later. But basically, buyer says they didn't get the item. So eBay will protect them, eBay being eBay, and you'll lose your money. So obviously you don't want that. So my advice is to block customers from Canada. I have nothing against Canada. I have nothing against Canadians. But as a seller, you should protect yourself. My very strong advice is that any international seller should block Canadian customers because Canada Post will not track your items. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in eBay. Other sites like Amazon, whatever, you can probably do the same thing. If you can't, then if you do get a customer from Canada, just politely tell them that that you know that you don't send to Canada because they don't track their items. If they turn around and say, "Oh no, I'll take I'll be responsible for it," whatever, doesn't matter. eBay will still find in their favor, even if they say that in their message. So, how do you block countries in eBay? So, what you need to do is, if you log into your eBay account, and when you log into your eBay account, you will, I think it's actually cut off the screen at the moment. So when you log into your eBay account, you will see 4 tabs. You'll see activity, messages, account, and applications. So what you need to do is you need to click the account tab, and it will actually take you to a different page. It'll show you like how much fees and stuff you've been paying to eBay, which I'm not going to show in this video, but the side menu will be the same. So what you need to do is you need to click on Site Preferences on the left hand side. When you click on Site Preferences, it will take you to this page, and it will have a whole bunch of things. So what you need to do is you need to go down to the Postage Preferences, and you need to click on Exclude Postage Locations from your listings. So you need to do that, and then to the, which again I've cut that off here. So if you go to the right hand side, you'll have this edit, and you click edit, and then it'll take you to this page here. And sorry, that's cut off again. So exclude postage location, select the regional countries you don't ship to. So Canada is in North America. You can block whole continents if you like, and that will select everything. Or if you want to just block one country, for example Canada, then you just tick that box. So remember, these are the regions or countries you don't ship to. So whatever countries are ticked, they are the countries that you don't ship to. And you'll see that it'll say at the bottom you've excluded Canada. So then what you need to do is you need to click apply to all current live listings. If you don't tick this box, it will only apply to new listings you create afterwards. So I suggest that you tick this box so it applies, it will take immediate effect. And you click the apply button, and that will block customers from Canada. Every international seller should do this, because as I said, if a buyer turns around and says they didn't receive their item, there's nothing you can do. So that's what you should do to block it with Canada. Now I've actually, so now just going to, that's kind of the main, that's the important part of the video. That's the point I really want people to understand. So I'm not somebody who says, please watch, please subscribe and like my videos. I don't care, but I want people to see this. Is important. So please share this with other sellers, if you know, because people are losing money from this. Now I'm then going to sort of yabber on a bit, which is still really important information about, what my experiences were with, eBay, and also with Canada Post. So Canada Post were basically not helpful at all. They were not helpful at all. They said, we don't want to deal with your problem. It is what it is. Basically, we don't care. Now, even if you go to their website, you'll actually notice here that there are options like you can, file a claim. So if you actually click this window here, so it says here, what can I do if my package has a tracking number but wasn't delivered? So the first thing you can do is you can use their track service. And again, just for privacy reasons with the customer and things, I'm not going to put the actual tracking in here. But it actually was not able to track the item. And the reason is because it says the tracking number format. So for them, they're saying it must be in this format. Now, where I sent the item from, it is not, the tracking number is not in this format. And it came up with this error message saying that the item couldn't be tracked. Now I've tried it on, other online trackers and also the postal provider that I used in my country, and it tracked it to up to the point that it left the country, and after that there's nothing. The other option that they kind of give you here is to file a claim. Am I in the right? Maybe I'm not in the right window here. So actually, yeah, I think that was the right one. So you file a claim, and so it takes you to this page. So you can either track it or you can create this service. Yeah, so you create this service ticket. So what you do is, you'd go that you're the sender, and then you put the sender's postal code, the receiver's country, and the tracking number. Now, when I did this, obviously that's going to be Canada, otherwise they're not interested. What it was saying was it has this example, which is a Canada Post postcode, which is letter, number, letter, number, letter, number. Now, most countries around the world have a different postcode to this. So when you put the postcode of, this is the sender's postcode, when you put your postcode in, it comes up with an error message. So then what I did was I put in the customer's postcode, and again, and I sort of went through the steps. I kind of tried to go around the system by getting rid of that error message by saying that the sender's postcode and receiver's postcodes were the same. And then at the end, it came up with this message saying I couldn't lodge the claim. So I couldn't lodge the claim with Canada Post. And I'll come back to this point. So the second thing I did was I messaged eBay, and it was a very thorough message. I said, this is the issue. Canada Post are not tracking their items. I sent them links to their forums. I sent them link to the official Canada website. And I explained to them, like, this is a serious issue. Like, basically, every international seller should not be selling to Canadian customers because Canada Post is not tracking their items. And I even addressed it to the senior managers. So I know that by name because I've, eBay's customer service is so bad, I've had to escalate things right up to the top before. I even addressed it to them and said, this is like serious. I want somebody senior to be looking at this. And eBay, I had to send the message twice. I waited 5 days. This was the message that eBay have responded to me with, and I've removed any sort of private information. So keep in mind, I've waited 5 days, sent the message twice, addressed it to the top managers at eBay. I get a response from this person here who is eBay customer service, not a supervisor, not a manager, not a senior supervisor, without trying to sound rude, basically a nobody. They give me 3 paragraphs of crap about how they value my business and blah, 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 blah. The nicer they are, the worse the response is going to be. This is what they told me to do. Ship the item on time and with a tracking number. Well, I did that. Offer 30-day returns and opt in our hassle-free returns program. I did that. Consistently communicate by answering all questions and inquiries. I did that. Make sure that all of the item details are complete and accurate in your listings. I did that. Offer free shipping. I did that. Provide refund within 1 to 2 days after receiving back your item. Well, I never received the item back. So, it is what it is. So then it says, about Canadian customers, blah blah blah. So you can block them. So basically, eBay, they don't care. Like, they're always preaching, ad tracking, ad tracking, ad tracking. They don't protect you. So what happened to me with this case is that I sent actually 2 items purchased by the same buyer at the same time, sent together. It was worth about $100. It was tracked. Everything was fine. One day the customer said they opened a case. They didn't message me. They opened a case. They said I didn't receive the item. I responded to them. I said I'm happy to refund you the money. I said the only, and I wasn't rude or anything. I just said, the only thing that I request is that that you file a claim with the post office so that I can get my money back. Now, rather than they didn't even respond to that, right? I've told them I'm going to give you your money back. All I want is for you to go to your local post office and file a claim. They didn't even answer to that. They escalated the case. They escalated both cases. eBay straight away, bang, took my money. Now, because this was via the resolution center, not only did I lose my money for the transactions, eBay also said that they will not refund me the eBay fees on the transaction, which was about $10. And they also said that even if I could prove that the item was delivered, there was no way for them to recover the funds. And they've said that to me before on other cases. So once they refund the customer, that's it. eBay cannot, there's no way for them to physically extract the money back from the customer. You may be able to get the defect removed if you can prove that it was sent, but they can't get the money back. And I actually had a case where that happened. It was a guy in Brazil, and he did that. Eventually, the item did arrive, and eBay were like, "Well, we can't get your money back. Like, we've already given the customer back their money." And I lost my money, even though I proved that it was delivered. So you have to be really. So this is why you have to be careful about whether you manually give them their money back or not. Once the money's returned to the customer, that can't be reversed, and eBay can't get the money back from the customer, and eBay refused to reimburse me themselves. So, but anyway, but with Canada, the tracking doesn't show that the item was delivered because it's not tracked in Canada. Now, that's really suspicious to me that the customer just escalated the case, because what should happen, if I come back to this form even, is that if you actually notice what's going on here, even if you are the sender of the item, it's saying the sender's postal code, and Canada Post IT web system only allows Canadian postcodes. So whether you're the sender or the receiver, it's clearly designed for the receiver to make the claim. And you'll notice that there's this option here, receiver's country. Well, surely the receiver is going to be in Canada, because otherwise, why would Canada be interested in the item being lost? So even if you are the sender in another country, this IT system is clearly only designed for people in Canada that send items from Canada to other parts of the world, because it needs a Canadian postcode, and it allows you the option of, you've sent it internationally. So basically, you can't make a claim with Canada Post if you are an international seller. So that's why I made the request to the buyer. Now, why wasn't the buyer willing to lodge a claim with Canada Post? Because I have no doubt in my mind that they received the goods. And if they go to the post office and they lodge a claim with the post office, then that's fraud, because they're fraudulently saying, well, I didn't receive something that they did receive. And that's obviously a serious offense. And the thing that's sort of most upsetting with eBay is that legally, as the seller, you are not liable legally. If you send the package, you have tracking that proves that you sent the package, it left the country, you are not liable for the package. And if you don't believe me, contact eBay and say, you put to me in writing that the seller is liable legally. They will not do it, because they know that they'll be lying. So the onus is on the buyer. It's the buyer that's making the claim. It's the buyer that's standing there saying, I didn't receive the item. So it's like an insurance claim. It's up to them to turn around and say, well, hang on, I didn't get the item here. And to just use a really, and then then the liability, which it should, falls to the post office. So technically the liability is the post office, but if it comes down to buyer and seller, liability comes down to the buyer, because you've proved that you sent the item. You prove that you don't have the item. How do you prove that the buyer doesn't have the item? Because anything could happen. Maybe it was left at their front door and their dog took it. Maybe their next door neighbor took it. Maybe their sharemate took it. Maybe the postman took it. Maybe it fell out of the crate when it was going on the plane, and the airport truck ran over it, and it was damaged, so they threw it out. Like, who knows? Maybe this happens. I didn't know this happened. Canada Post don't even scan international mail. I know that there's one the Australia Post. There's one type of international mail. They don't show the tracking online, but they do track it. And I had that with a case. A customer said, I didn't receive the item. I contacted Australia Post. They said, oh, we have their signature and everything, and they sent it to me. So you don't know what happens. So the onus is on the buyer to make that claim. eBay policy does not override the law, and eBay know that. But the problem is for you to go through that process, go through PayPal or go through a small courts. It's a lot of times, a lot of efforts, a lot of hassle. Most people are not willing to do that for $50 or $100, and that's why eBay they try and protect the buyer and do everything they can for the buyer, and sellers are left exposed. So that's kind of I tried to make that as brief as possible. I know this video was still long. Thank you for watching to the end. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll try and answer it. But the main thing is that if you do sell online, you do offer worldwide shipping, block Canadian customers, because you cannot prove that the item was delivered, and under eBay policy, you will lose your money. There are other ways you can get it back, which I might cover in another video. But as I said, it's a pretty painful process. If you know the process, it's not too bad. But it's a sad situation. I can't understand how Canada Post can legally get away with this and just say, well, we can't be bothered tracking your items, and just not do it. I mean, it's phenomenal, especially for a first world developed country. Postal service to be doing this. It's absolutely incredible, and nobody wins from it. Sellers lose business because they no longer send to Canadian customers. Canadian customers lose out because they won't be able to buy from international sellers. There's going to be less mail to Canada, so people are going to lose jobs. I don't know. Maybe the only people who benefit is Canadian shareholders, which I'm guessing is the Canadian government. It's probably still state owned. Just a sad situation. So 2 thumbs down to Canada Post. I hope this video was informative. Please share this or let other people know who sell online, because it is important that they know. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.